Well, good morning and happy Fire Truck Friday. It must be a tool on the 5, and it is 35. Tool number 35, tool of the day. Here we go. Here it is, and there you have it. It's the multimeter. This is known as a digital multimeter. This is a tool that measures electricity. It's an awesome tool, and this week's Fire Truck Friday would not be possible without this tool. You see, I've been working all week to get a battery charged up so that I could use it for Fire Truck Friday. This was an old battery, and so I ran it through several cycles of charging, and I used this multimeter to measure the voltage of the battery. Volts refers to the number or the amount of pressure that's pushing on the electricity. We also kind of measure that. If it was air pressure, like you were filling your tire, it would be PSI, pounds per square inch. It's basically how much force is pushing those electrons down the road. So this is a voltmeter, and sure enough, today I have great news because I finally got this battery up to a voltage that is acceptable. And so it's at about 12.8 volts. It was at 13 volts this morning when I started, but I've been playing around a little bit. So the voltmeter does a lot of different things. It measures volts. It also measures continuity. I mean, I could teach, we will be going over this later on, but boy, there's a lot we could talk about. I can touch the end of one wire to the other end of that wire, and if it beeps, you hear that beep, then there's continuity, which means there's no break in the wire. So this is another thing you can do with a voltmeter. They come in a variety of sizes. This is kind of a pocket multimeter, also known as a voltmeter or an amp meter. This is another one. It's a little that can handle a little more and do a few more things. It can measure more electricity. When I say more, I'm talking about amps. Amps is kind of the amount of electricity. Okay, kind of think of a fire hose. It's a big hose, a lot of amps. Tiny hose, garden hose, a small amount of amps. Okay, so here's another one. This one's really designed to do household current, and you can actually put this around a wire and it'll tell you how much amperage is coming through that wire. But I can also use this to test something as simple as a AA battery. Is that AA battery any good? And I can usually measure that. It should be around 1.2 to 1.6 volts. If the battery's less than that, it's no good. So there's something. A lot of times we throw batteries away and they're still good. I call them remote control batteries. A battery that has 1.1 or even 1.0 volts will still work great in a remote control, but it won't work so great in something that's running an electric motor. There you go. So today's Fire Truck Friday, I'm going to give you a little sneak preview. And by the way, tool number 35, digital multimeter, also known as a DMM, and it measures voltage, amperage, resistance, continuity. There's 4 things it does. So you can get that into your notes. But for today's, I'm going to be talking about the difference between the type of electricity that we see in a battery and the type of electricity we see in the wall of our house, like that. And this converts. So I can plug this into a battery, and then I can hook it up, and then I can turn this on, and this converts the power. It's called a power inverter, and it allows me to plug in something that normally plugs into the wall, like Christmas lights. And then I can turn that on, and it runs off of a battery. And if we were at school, I'd be riding my bubble bike around and blowing bubbles, and people would be like, how are you getting that thing to work on a bicycle? Well, I'm using a battery, converting the voltage to 120 AC from 12 volts DC, and as long as it uses a very small amount of electricity, which LED lights use a very small amount of electricity, then I can power it from something as simple as a battery. This means that we can put Christmas lights all over the fire truck and drive the fire truck down the road. Happy Fire Truck Friday. Woo! It's gonna be a good day.